Okay, so now I know how to maintain a neutral spine position after I find it. I know which muscle to engage around my core, but then also how to generate movement from my hips. So now we're going to look at carrying a bit of an awkward box. Now, when we're carrying, we might have to bend the rules ever so slightly because we might need to generate a little bit more force to lift this up because it's not light. Now, if it was light, I'd just be there and I'd want to just lift it up, but that isn't going to apply, so I need to get a little bit deeper and I just need to minimize the strain. I'm going to make sure that I'm going straight forwards. I want to make sure that I've got a good grip, and we're going to be engaging the core muscles of the spine before we actually lift. So I'm going into this position just here. Now, because this is it's not too heavy, I can lift straight up like this. So we've got to pick the grip that's appropriate for what we're lifting and where we're going to be putting it to. It's obviously going to be different, but for me, I'm just going to pick a position right in the middle of the box. I'm making sure that I'm maintaining the spine in the neutral position and then lifting straight up from there. I might want to use my knees as a bit of leverage. So in this position, I can actually lean back ever so slightly. And once I'm in that position, I might want to drive up straight away just to lift it and use a bit of momentum. It's only when we're jerking and twisting and we haven't got control that we're going to get injuries. Quite often, if your spine's in a safe position and you've got full control, you're not going to be having an injury. Using momentum is fine as long as you've got control. Now, the handle for this box is actually on the top just here. If I've got to lift it up from this position, so the handles are off center, I've got to get my back down. So again, I'm hip hinging, I'm using the hips, and then for lifting up, I might just use a bit of leverage. So what we don't want to do, I'm not going to lift from this position, but if I was bending forwards and reaching and then lifting from here, all of that leverage is going through and it's putting a lot of force into my back. Whereas if I'm just short-circuiting almost, the only force that's going through if I'm using the elbow is there. No force is going through my back, relatively. If we're just changing the position, so again, I'm just using my knee. It's not going in front, so it's nice and stable. I'm hip hinging from here, and then I can just lift from there, and all of the force, it doesn't really matter what position my back is in, I've really minimized it because it's all going through there. I can then climb up my body just there, and it's in a much better position. I can move it around wherever I need to. I've got good control. When it's going back down, I'm just there, and I've used the principle of keeping my back safe, but also I'm leveraging just to make sure I'm putting the weight through other joints rather than putting it through the low back. And this is going to be different for different things that you're lifting. Sometimes we'll still use this as an object, but if you can hold on to something just here and then lifting it up from there, I'm also helping to stabilize my body. It's not as good because it's not as close, but this is primarily if you were lifting something up with one hand. As I said, with this one, we want a good grip of it. Now, one of the other things that we can do is just by being a little bit smarter, we might not necessarily have to completely lift it. We can just walk it. So, excuse all the noises. We can just walk it like this. We could drag. So in all of these different positions, we're just keeping the back nice and stable. So we've got a few options of what we can do for lifting it safely. The safest option as well would be to get a buddy, someone that you can lift this with, and then it halves the weight of it, so there's less chance of an injury, but still adhering to all of those rules that we talked about, keeping the spine in a good, safe position and minimizing the load as much as we can.